Yeah, and she was like, she said the same thing. She was like, you know what's crazy too is because I was like debating. I had John A. Light on my podcast. John A. Light.
Who's that?
So this is funny.
That's a good question, isn't it?
John A. Light.
That's a
he
good
was
question.
John Gotti's henchman. He killed.
So they say though.
Well.
Because a lot of people like Sammy the Bull say, I never heard of the guy.
Well, but I mean, there's pictures with A. Light and Gotti and all that. Like, it's all very. He would really did do time in prison. Killed 6 people with a baseball bat.
He's no joke, man.
Killed 6 different people. His weapon of choice was baseball
Bring up
bat.
pictures of him with Gotti.
And you had him on the pod? So he's out of prison now.
John A. Light.
So he did time in jail and convicted murderer. And he ratted, he open about it, cooperated to get less prison time.
Snitched.
This guy.
Yeah, so John A. Light.
He's a dangerous dude.
So John A. Light, he goes, that was Gotti's son. So John A. Light, he came and did the podcast in the house. And, Jasmine was like, why you would have convicted murderers in the house? I said, it's for the YouTube. And she goes, and so, but anyway, T.T. Jerry and John A. Light were on the episode together and they were both swapping prison stories. And this is the only time.
Was it great?
On my yes. The only time on my podcast where I had to
Listen.
delete. No, I had to delete stuff because normally we say we don't edit. We just go in and we roll.
Why'd you edit?
Huh?
Why'd you edit?
Because they started sharing stories together of who they knew in prison, and it came to light that T.T. Jerry had sucked a couple of these Italian gangsters' dicks. And
You don't want that heat.
No, when A-Light told me after the party, he goes, hey, it's your lie, whatever you want to do. He goes, I'm just telling you, if any of these guys, even though we didn't say their names, get described and they can figure out who's who, you will get killed for that. He goes, you're going to get killed for that. And I was like, holy shit. But then because Jerry was going off, she was like, yeah. And they were like, oh, I know that guy and this and that. But, because she was like, first of all, what Jerry told me, she goes, everybody comes into prison and says they ain't gay. And after 6 months, you gay. That's what she said. She goes, everybody's gay. She goes, you got about 6 months and then you gay.
I give Callan 2 days.
Yeah. No, I mean, she's got to.
2 days, Brian's
Yeah.
like, fuck
2
it.
days.
Well, she told me in jail, she was like, look, because I asked her, I said, if I went to prison, what would be your advice? She goes, I would say you were trans immediately. She goes, I would start asking for estrogen pills immediately because then they're going to move you to the transgender part of the jail, which is a lot safer. They're probably not going to hurt you. And you just take a little estrogen for a couple of years. She was like, maybe you'll like it.
You're
And then
gonna
you'll get
grow
out of
tits.
prison.
You're gonna grow
Yeah, but
tits.
I'm
Yeah.
growing them anyway. I'm eating muffins every morning.
Yeah.
So what's the difference?
Yeah.
And so maybe it curbed my appetite. So that's what her genuine, honest
interesting.
advice was. And, the things about like listening to someone like that just talk about prison and what it's like. And her life is like the most minuscule thing she's happy about. Like, when we say, like, you try to tell your kids, oh, there's kids who don't even have food, but
Yeah.
they're like, I don't know what you're talking about.
They have no reference.
She
Yeah.
genuinely is like, I am happy to be breathing fresh air. I'm happy that I walked to the street corner and,
Because I used
no
to eat
correction
hot dogs
officer-
out of my asshole.
Yeah, dude, she used to do that all the time. She would hide the hot dog. What she did, she actually told a great story, is she would get her last name was Miranda. They would call her J-Lo in prison. But they said that the security guards, everybody calls her J-Lo in prison.
Okay.
The security guards would have to get, every time they would give breakfast sausages, they caught on, they couldn't give the breakfast sausages because they were sausage links to Jerry, because what she would do was, she was upstate prison around the Buffalo area, Attica prison. So she would go up there. She had a little shelf at the top of her cell, and her window could open a little bit. She would open up the window, stick the sausage links up there. They would freeze. Now they're dildos. So she would get the dildos up her ass,
Yeah.
and the sausage up her ass, and she would make everybody come with the dildos, and you can't do that even though it's fun.
Sure.
So